Hello, thank you so much.
What's this finger doing here on my floor?
It's Dennis dropped it.
Oh, okay. If anybody came in late, they don't know what we're talking about, right? Okay. Again, I want to go over some maps just to. So here's the Jungian map from some information Richard Moon sent me, and what I read was conscious to unconscious to the collective unconscious. Okay. Uh, And he said a very important thing here. He said, well, one thing that we're going to get into, the unconscious helps the conscious what? To develop? Uh, Conscious is helped by the unconscious. We're going to take advantage of that sense of it our way. He also said an important word. He said, the soul, the bridge is the soul. So there's a bridge between these uh, levels as Jung laid them out. But I like the word bridge, a la OSensei Amino Keihashi. So there is a bridge. Um, and the real bridge is the soul as it becomes, for lack of words, more aware of itself, uh, picks up all this stuff. Okay? Uh, I stopped Jung within the universe. I couldn't catch on the information that Moon sent me any pre of our universe, the heavenly, what Osensei calls the heavenly. So I held him here. I held those three within the universe as we know it. Okay. You following this? Mentioned this to Bob Noah, and he mentioned, oh yeah, the Tibetan they like to map, and he said their form is gross, what Osensei would call not matter. What Osensei called that first one? Manifest. Manifest Tibetans, subtle. They add another one, finer subtle, and then they move to the pre of the creation, which they call the causal. Okay. So this, let me see, the same map or the same sense of a map. Okay. Uh, I don't know if the coloring, I don't think the coloring's right, but okay. Uh, Sensei's manifest, hidden, divine. Now remember, all of these are overlaid. Really, it's all manifest universe, and finer in there is the hidden. What do you call the hidden? And he doesn't use a third one like the Tibetans does. He just jumps to the chase. He moves into divine, which is originally here. It's is here. They all overlay or underlie each other, whatever the proper word is. Okay. You're getting a similarity, a sense of the similarity, different languaging, different cultures, but similar, basically on the same track. Uh, I just want to use this guy here. Remember the thinking? There he is, thinking brain, settling down. There's a feeling brain. Next, sense feeling. Okay, sense feeling brain. Uh, uh, Florida Diane, you mentioned that last week. I meant to call you and say don't too fast sense feeling to go for sensing because sensing is sounds superior and is better. Sense feeling is a very important experience. I'd hang out there and I'd hang out there and I'd hang out there for a bit. So just for you to file away in case. Okay. Uh, yeah, there he. Oh, we do have him. Okay, there he is. Thinking, feeling, sense, feeling, and sensing, and finer levels of sensing. Okay, is another way that I map it. And do I have another one? Okay, another way of mapping it that we use is energies up and down, mixing up this centered person. Okay, we've been talking lately about adding in the energies of the situation we're in. Both are dimensional. If I settle down, I'm in a finer dimension of this mix. I'm not Bobby anymore, I'm Robert. As I continue dimensionally, it mixes up energies and I'm Nadeau. Okay, now we have to include the situation. So I'm Nadeau, comfortable in the dojo. In the dojo, I am comfortable. We start to get both energies activating. That's what OSensei like that crosshairs image. As the balance gets better, the character who is now being bred because the up and down energies I call male, and the circular situation I call female. That's my words, whatever your words are there. Don't want to confuse you sexually. Okay, whatever. As that mix of both those energies in harmony get better, it breeds. We say at first mixes on lesser levels, but after a while they breed a character. Okay. So as these energies and these energies dimensionally go finer, the character is bred finer, and in the character, through the character, is self. Okay. So do you kind of see the similarity in these different maps? I hope there was something there. In fact, let's take a moment. Open mic. Anything on this? While you're thinking for a moment, Jung. The bridge is the soul. And for me, self, soul has many names. Philosopher's Stone in Western alchemy. Scads of names. I think we mentioned that a week or two ago, to all the different names that are used for that elusive self. The great sea of the personal unconsciousness that flows into the collective even wider one. Okay. Remember, dimensionally, they'll show bigger. Be careful. You don't have to go out bigger per se, but it'll show bigger. Sensei's complaint about going out bigger is you'd like dissipate. He'd like to change that word from bigger to finer. As you move into the next finer dimension, it's finer. Again, you'll have a sense of it's bigger, but he wasn't one to keep expanding out as if you would lose something there. Okay. Anyway, questions, comments?
Sensei, this is Lauren. I have a sincere question as to so I understand that there can be a manifest in this diagram that you're showing here, that there's a manifest reality, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Reality, universe.
And in the universe, and I can understand that there's a part that's hidden. What is the difference between the divine part, the spirit world, or the world of spirits,
okay,
and the hidden? Is it
the difference? Hidden is dimensions, energy vibrations are still the first two within the creation. I'm going to say this right. When you're really squared away with this, for lack of words, you can exit it, okay, to realize the divine of stuff which you then realize is overlaid here. The glass is suddenly here. I didn't say it well. Continue with your question. Did I really answer it?
I don't.
You want to do it straight away? It's heavy. You got a whole vast universe of heavy. God, how many galaxies they are. And we can see it and touch it and weigh it and whatever. As we settle, move into finer. We get past the heavy, the obvious. We start to get into finer feeling of things, heading towards sensing. And there is still energy activity in that finer. Okay? Using a straightforward way, OSensei like up and down bass, but anyway, using straightforward. Finer and finer and finer and finer. When all the pieces are there, the great he is there, the great she is there, the great that line is there, the great this line is there, the great center circle, yin yang, and the fullness of the character, that level, with whatever self is sensed, all of that potentially can cross over into the before of everything, which is the heavenly. OSensei was cool there. He was the master. And in doing that, he was able to hold that and be active here at times. So he could shift fast from this old man, which is how he used to call himself sometimes, this old man, but he could very fast trigger through to this more original, and that more original was here. And that's when he would do unbelievable stuff. Does that help doing it that way?
Thank you, Sensei.
It's a bitch. I'm trying to simplify. It's a bitch.
So we had a question,
yes,
Sensei, about character.
He said it's very important. I double check, and that's very important. One possibility, now I don't know the fullness of the importance. One possibility is if the two main energies of creation, within creation, can breed a character, that the character would tell us that there's some degree of harmony, or a good degree of harmony. They're breeding, and they're breeding an ever better character, not a body character, a character. Okay. And all of that is necessary for the big leap of heavenly, or the priori, the pre of things. You have that capability. We have that capability. That's the game, to return back to an original that we lost when we sort of tripped in. We got a little bit lost. We're just heading back to what we really were. Kenny?
Yeah. Actually, it's funny. I saw on the internet somewhere that it was, I think, like Thich Nhat Hanh board, but they said maybe the job is unbecoming. Not that we need to learn more, but we go back to original. Yeah.
Unwind. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Learning more is okay. We try to cover that with going dimensional in learning more. Oh, where am I going to go with that? But if you want to have self, learning more out there is not necessarily the answer. A finer self has a better access to all these energies, dimensionally finer, can experience all of that, and has a lot of knowledge. Something like that. Right. So I don't want to downplay book learning. Okay, I don't really mean to go there, but just to know the difference. Oh, somebody, anything here before we move on?
I think Bonnie had her hand up. Bonnie, can you unmic?
Yes, this is Bonnie. I typed the question also. Sensei, there is a Japanese saying that a person's character has 3 faces. The first face you show to the world, the second you show to your close friends and family, and the third you never show anyone. Is your mapping a parallel comparison of the levels, if that's a right word, to the manifest hidden and divine?
Unfortunately, I didn't hear the words.
I'll repeat it for you, Sensei. I can repeat it for you. And so Bonnie is saying she knows of a Japanese saying that a person has 3 faces. The first face you show to the public. The second face you show only to your family and friends. The third face you don't show to anyone. Is that a mapping to what your diagram is here?
Why not? Sounds okay to me. Now, just what you're going to do with those words. Okay, I won't show my face to anybody because this is really my spiritual. I don't know what people are going to do with those words. So, yeah, but the general sense of it. Noah, you buy the general sense of this? Are you listening?
Yes, Sensei, I'm listening.
Are you okay with that?
With
You're not listening.
What Bonnie was saying,
said,
you mean?
and what I said, sounds good to me. Why not?
Yes. One of the ways the Tibetans talk about this that is maybe simplifies it a little bit too is manifest is the waking state that everyone experiences every day. Hidden is
daily.
Is one way that in the hidden dimension, we go through the dream state every day. And in the divine, we're in deep dreamless sleep. Now, none of those are as conscious as what you're talking about, but they said every human being goes through those 3 states every day.
I would have to back up the words and how people would use those words. So, Bonnie, there's another example of, as you really start to settle and get here, you're going to be in a dreamlike state. I don't know what people are going to do with those words. Or when we get to the great self, what's the last one, Bob? We get to the great self, it's
dreamless sleep.
Dreamless sleep. Oh boy, I get to my great original self and I'm going to sleep. No dreams, but I'm sleeping. What the hell is that? Who gives a shit about it? I don't give a shit about that. So those words are tricky. I'm sure there's brilliance behind them, but you can't use those words with people. Hey, everybody, meditate every day your whole life because I want to get you to this great dreamless place where you'll sleep. Screw you, when I'm dead, I'll sleep. So words are a bummer. They can help, so I'm trying to use them here to help, but it's a human condition what people do with words. Okay. So we do the best we can. So basically, Bonnie, yeah, sounds good to me. Sure, you like it, play with it. Okay.
Sensei, this is Tija. Could I weigh in on the character issue and what's being talked about here? We in our language we have this common understanding of the word character, and that the quality of development that takes place from ethical and moral and good actions and those sort of things develop what we often call character. One of the ways that I think is really unique that you use the word character is that it can be a development in your awareness, that it's not necessarily connected with social ways of understanding character. So we're developing being through character, through the mixes that we do, through the expanded awareness and so on. So it's a real different use of the word character, and I think it's a useful one. We just have to kind of make sure that we're not thinking of the normal use of the word character, and we're using the new reference. Just wanted to bring that up because I think
how we screw that stuff up. You can't be a very advanced character because you're not smiling all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah. So damn the words, and yet we have to use them. We're damned if we don't use any words. Everybody sits silent forever. Or if we use words, we're damned because they won't quite, and you'll get confused and you'll whatever. We're damned if we do and damned if we don't. We do the best we can. One reason I've been trying to have you agree on certain words are for us amongst ourselves to clarify certain words, like don't confuse thinking with I'm sensing. When you're sensing, sense and say sensing. I'll understand where you're coming from, but don't impress me with I'm going to think about that. Sensei, I'm sensing this. No, you're not. You're thinking about something. You're not feeling. You're not sensing. You're not finer sensing. So I try to have within our group, or us folks, the Zoomers, to try to establish a bit of a languaging with each other as best as we can. Is that okay? Thank you, TJ. I'll call you back soon.
Bob,
How we do? Yeah.
Bob,
Yeah.
Steve, I once again on the character conversation, I find it very helpful when you use the Bobby, Bob, Robert, Nadeau, Sensei. To me, that seems like a development of character into a finer dimension that we are
That's
opening.
how my sense of it, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to clarify. I think that sounds really clear.
Yeah, Bobby would act more childish in a situation, more erratic. Robert, not as much, more stability in the situation. Yeah, so. My words. Hope you catch the sense of them. Okay, anything? Okay.
Yeah, Sensei, it's Mike.
Yeah.
The image that was coming up for me, and it's not complete yet, but was looking at a pond, and the manifest is that you look at the pond and the pond is very dirty, so you can't see through the water. The hidden is when that water suddenly becomes, not suddenly, gradually becomes clearer and clearer and clearer, and I can look deeper and deeper into the pond. And then the divine.
Right there is where we call dimensional work. I see a dirty pond. Easy, settle. What is it really? And then it changes a bit. Oh, well, it's liquid. And the dirt is not in your face. What is it really? Ooh. And you pick it up at a different level. Whatever water is at a finer level. Yeah. Go ahead. Cut you off there.
And well, then moving to the divine, my sense is that there's no longer a distinction between me and the pond.
Okay. I'm not using divine there.
Okay.
I'm putting that more as a pretty damn good harmony within the universe, where the separation factor is not there. The harmony of these energies, those energies, and the harmony of those sounds like what you're saying. I'm splitting hairs maybe for some people.
No, that's fine. I mean,
divine is something even more. So I want to be careful how I use the word divine. I use it from an OSensei sense. And this was plus of things. So
my words didn't feel like they were getting to the divine. It was like another step beyond hidden, but somewhere in between.
Yeah, again, that was tried to be brought in. Let's see. The Tibetans again had a word to get a little finer here. They said a gross, subtle, finer, subtle. They would want to include that more, finer, subtle, before they got to heavenly, which they called apparently causal, according to Noah. Yeah. So it's just a matter of how tight do you want to measure this or cut this or make a distinction here. But I would like to not have people be confused between the activity within creation and the pre of creation, which is OSensei big time. There'll be a tendency for people jumping the gun to say, oh, it feels calm. I must be in heaven. No, you're just at a level where the vibration is such in harmony, it's very calm or soothing or whatever. It ain't heaven yet. See, people are going to call everything God. If it's a little brighter, that's God. If it's a little bigger, that must be God. It's so big. They're going to call everything along the way God. It's a people thing, human condition. Okay, so I'm just an advocate of let's not do that kind of thing. Okay, let's hold the special words for where they are in a very special place because humans jumped the gun. Okay, did you follow what I said? You following this, Mike?
Yes, I did. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I get the sense that what you're really describing is that the divine is completely, these are not going to be the right words, but outside everything that we can conceive of, basically.
I would go there. We'll know it, we'll experience it when we're there. There's certain things I want to know to facilitate my move in that direction. But I don't want to get caught up in how many angels fit on the head of a pin. Is that too stupid here? Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So a lot of things you'll know when you're there. Okay. I'm just asking people not to jump the gun. Just be a little careful of thinking you're there because it's a little bit more this or that. Wait, hang out, continue your sense experience of things. Don't get a rush for I'm there. I've arrived. Okay.
Yeah, I think those are important words, actually. As long as we think we're somewhere, you can pretty much guarantee we're not. You'll know when you're there.
By many people through the ages of when you think you're there, you're not. TJ, I'm sure you have something to say right there.
That sounds very Zen to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about conception and about the location of our awareness at the time that we're considering something. So I thought Mike's comment was really actually very good, was spot on. And the divine in that sense, and the way that we're, think, beginning to speak about it, is not conceivable, and it's certainly not holdable in the smaller sense of our consciousness or awareness. So it's kind of wonderful to give it that space, right? To give it the space of the mystery. It doesn't mean that it's that it's foreign to us.
Unattainable.
Yeah, unattainable.
Unattainable mystery that'll never be understood. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Because we can't understand. We're not going to ever understand it with this.
Yeah.
You know. But that doesn't mean that it's not connectable. We can't connect it. That bridge that Bob or that Moon was talking about with Jung, I think is a beautiful analogy of that ability to connect with the divine. So yeah, I appreciate what Mike had to say there.
Tisha, we were talking about having a conversation. Should we do it now or should I play? Let's go into the conversation now, and then I'll play a process I want to play with. I think I have time. We were talking about these different stages. You want to first, for those of you who know Tisha Bell from Aikido or his great guitar playing, but his persona, his thing. And would you go over your thing and your titles again, just so people know you're not the Tisha of the guitar or the Tisha with the D on. You've moved along since then.
Thank you, Sensei.
I
think what you're referring to is, over the course of my time in my life, I've studied inside the traditions that Bob Noah was talking about with the Tibetans, and more closely in the last 25 years in the Vipassana tradition of meditation. So I've done a lot of meditation. I've had the privilege of teaching in literally hundreds of retreats, and some of them being long ones, like 10 days and a month long at a time. So I've had the opportunity to immerse in that culture of meditation. And all this time I've also been connected with my Zen lineage, which is a Renzai Zen lineage. And a number of years ago, I was recognized as a lineage heir to in this tradition. So I have a Roshi title and a number like the 84th patriarch or something like that of this tradition. But all that is really saying is that that I'm practiced and in this, and I'm growing, and my understanding, just like we all are. But I've had the privilege to deepen in these practices and work with people in profound meditation practice over time. So that's a little bit, I think, the lineage that maybe you were referring to, Sensei.
Tisha has a big audience in China also.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Tisha, we were talking about different.
We were talking
locations.
about the difference of thinking about meditation, and actually a process. Since your title, your theme for this week, that's kind of the activation of self. Some of the potential gateways or processes that we can go to that are not about thinking about meditation, but actually arriving to that space that opens into the direct, deep sensing that you talk about of the self.
Okay. So again, back to the brain thing. First brain, thinking brain. Thinking about meditation is not meditation. It says you're definitely not in the right brain. That's why we got a da, and head towards eventual self. So we can't do that from that first brain. You'll make up stories and words, and it won't be it. Anyway, we talked about the expectations, Tisha.
Yeah.
In meditating.
Yeah. So when we start, we think, okay, well, I'm going to do a little bit of meditation. So you kind of maybe get yourself aligned, and getting aligned and having good posture is an important aspect of what we do. But one of the things that will go into a session of meditation is have some expectation of enlightenment or even something more humble, like just awakening. And I think that it's very important, like as the first step, to let go of your expectations, and just become present for the session, present for the practice, just to begin with. Let's call that kind of like a step one.
Yeah, and to tell the first brain, the thinking brain, not to have expectations will probably drive that brain crazy. Okay, so no expectations. Take it as it comes. Let it show whatever. Doable. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's doable. Okay, it's doable. Okay, then we move on to being open.
Sure, open or spaciousness. And in that, I think there's a good, what you call tricks of the trade. Mm-hmm. Sensei, when you're talking about our process and so on. I think a good thing is you will notice that when you come to meditate like this, there'll still be a lot of generation of thought and feeling and emotions and memory and all these things. One of the good tricks of the trade is to remember that this is development. This takes a little bit of time and some commitment to do. But one of the important things that I've realized for myself, and as I've worked with students all over the world, is start to bring your the presence of your awareness, if we can use those terms right now, just for a moment, a little bit forward of the other stuff that's generating. So we're not walking down those pathways of, oh, this means this and this means that, and that reminds me of this.
Is that it? Is that it?
Yeah. So often we use, to create that spaciousness that you just talked about, we often use the breath as a way to settle down and give something for our attention, for this mind, this brain, something to begin to focus on that's regular, that's just right here. It's actually a great skill to open into that stage that you were referencing, Sensei, as openness.
Okay. And there are many things: breathing, chanting.
Yeah.
Lauren, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Ooh, nice gong. So you can hear it at first, but as you settle, and one more. The beginning is of feeling that vibe. I'm going to try to move fast here. One more. Easy, settling, easy. Some confusion about, am I hearing that sound or am I in that sound? Starting to blend in there someplace. Not sure what words you would use there. And anyway, so breathing, yes, gonging, and just going finer dimension, finer dimension, finer dimension. Self is not those vibrations. Breathing is not the self. But someplace in there is self. So we use these things to help us line up to experience, for lack of words, self. So whether it's breathing for self or chanting for self or gongs for self, they're not self, but they can potentially facilitate realizing experience. A realize is not I think I got it. It's an inner experience that self itself has about itself with itself. Damn the words. So there are many forms. Okay, breathing, gonging, chanting, being balanced and squared away, being better balanced and squared away. Someplace in that balance squared away is self. But at first, I'm just aware of myself as being better squared away and what I can do, who I can beat up. As you continue using balance, a la OSensei, okay, the fuller of those energies and the fuller of those energies as a balance reference. But the balance per se of those energies is still not the self, but it's a good, Tisha, I need a word, a good aligner, a good.
Yeah, I like alignment. It's a good alignment to be present. So we started with that letting go of expectations, which is kind of just an openness that moves into that spaciousness, which is not spaced outness, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then we used, again, for alignment, you used that sound. Use the sound of the bell that Lauren played, and the practice in that is, man, this has got traditions of hundreds of thousands and thousands of years as a way of settling from this from brain here to brain in the whole being. So that's an important one. If we're going to move from thinking to sensing and finer sensing, there is a process. There's actually a change that takes place.
And whatever facilitates you making that shift, that move, good on you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you like to chant, you like to gong, and you like to whatever, does it do the job? Good. All right, we can't restrict this to, oh, you don't chant? Well, you're not going to be very spiritual, are you? We can't go there. Okay.
Yeah, I completely agree. We as human beings have lots of different learning types. Some of us are more oral. Some of us are more, cognitive, more kinesthetic, more in the body. So we need to honor what works for us. If that sound, if chanting is actually, moving in between the two hemispheres of the brain and actually creating that quality of openness and spaciousness, which is in the dialogue that we're having, Sensei, is like that second step.
For years, I loved chanting and gong. Dear God, that I love gongs.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I don't have time for stories there, but yeah. And then I think we're talking about, Tisha, about listening. It's not the ear listening. Oh, no, that was about the gongs.
Yeah, but
still listening, yeah.
Staying a moment on that step on listening, and really what that practice that's been done in meditation centers and monasteries and nunneries and any contemplative center has had some, there's always some gong. It's always in there. But the point about listening that I think is so important that you're pointing to, Sensei, is that it's not an ear listening. And actually having that space of like when Lauren rang that bell, is to listen to the space out of which listening takes place. I know that's a little twisted in language, but just stay with me for a minute on that, and then you'll have your way of speaking of it, Sensei. But it's a deep, clear, dare I say, probably not, pure listening, and but it has some sense of the quality of spaciousness that we've developed in that drop down. The listening is clear. It's not about the object, even though the sound of the bell is still ringing. It's deep connectedness.
I might even screw it up some more. You may have said this, but listen finer, sense, listen finer. And by the way, all of that is not the self. Does that screw you up or what? We need listen, easy listen, sense listening, finer sense listening. So that's a setup. That's that squared awayness kind of thing in its own form for the self to be able to show. Ooh. Anyway, we better move along. I've got to do a practice here.
Thank you, Sensei.
Okay, everybody. Thank you, Tisha. Okay, everybody. Remember the brain map thinking? Now, everyone, settle down. You're allowed to breathe if you like. Breathe. Shift into the feeling brain area, which time you might, you begin to feel body things. I feel a little cooler over here and a little warmer over there. Feeling. Easy, settle down. Now I begin to feel things that aren't felt, they're energy feelings. There's a vague sense of movement of stuff through the body. Stuff that people might say, oh, I'm feeling nervous here. They're feeling the little bit stuff. Easy. Feeling to finer, so we call that sense feeling. Sense feeling. And at first, Maybe nothing shows on that first moment. Again, sense, feeling. We're settling down, moving into a finer level that we've arbitrarily called sense feeling. Okay. I have a sense of roundness and a little more spaciousness, sense feeling, kind of a little bit of a dark calmness, sense feeling. It's a touch of ancientness to it, like it's been here a long time, something like that. Sense feeling, easy, easy. Finer sense feeling. Sense feeling will move into sensing much finer. Sensing. I might want to continue this, for lack of a word, experiential part. I might say sense experience here. Sensing it in the sensing is an experience. Again, watch out for what should it be? What is the experience, Sensei? Sensing, sensing, sensing. Okay. Now, again, really, take more time on your own time to get there. At a certain level of sensing, the self that is there will start to show itself more and more. Okay. So I sort of acknowledge it that there is. I'm not saying I'm experiencing it or I am it, but I'm acknowledging someplace there, self. I'm sort of opening the doorway, so to speak, for self to show. I don't know if these words are any good. Even if they were, you could twist them around and screw them up if you want to. Easy, settling, settling, finer and finer. Okay. I want to play a game here, based a little bit. Well, it's one of my old games. I've used this before, but a little bit like Jung's, where the subconscious will facilitate the conscious. So it's kind of sort of like that, but my languaging, my practice. Okay, so here you are yourself to some level, should we call it that? Some degree, self. Now, right here with you, you have an over self. Now, over self is still yourself, but it's a little more advanced self. If my self to begin with is in grammar school, my over self is in high school. Dear God. Easy. Now, I used to play a game of self talking to its own over self. Let's try it as over self being the older brother of me. The words will want to help me. So I say to the over self, I say, what can I, this level self, what can I do to move along better on this journey? Now hush and listen. I present that to over self. Over self says back, a lot about so far, so good. Just be easy here. Be easy. Be easier. Easy. And as I feel that word, I feel some things dropping off, some weights dropping off. Easy. So I just don't listen to the word and think about the word, God forbid. I sense, feel, I experience the word. So I feel this first self, not the over self, this first self developing, improving. Let's hit it again. You got the game. Settled, easy, easy, easy. Get to a sensing level where we acknowledge there's some level of self here. Should be, so I'm at that level where it should begin to show. And I'm not sure or whatever. Now, there is an overself here. And I say to the overself, I would like to be more comfortable on this journey. Or I would like to do this journey a bit better. Or help, I don't know what to do. We're feeding the question to the overself. Easy. Overself in its way speaks back. You might not hear the word in your ear, but it's speaking back. You ask and it speaks back. What are you flavoring? What's your sense feeling? And as it inputs potential to go think about it. Of course, because there are still energies in it. You can push you. Don't want to think back here. Feel, experience, or whatever the proper words are. Sense, experience what over self gave to you, showed to you, is presenting to you. Find your own sense words. I'm enjoying as hell this inner experience. I don't want to come back to you guys right now, but I've got to. Checking time. Okay. We have to talk a bit. Anybody, did you get any, what'd you hear from your over self? Open mic. We're going to run out of time, so be clippy here. Go.
I heard very clearly, relax. The tension interferes with the sensing.
Okay. And as you relaxed, or not just body relaxed, but as the self, yourself at that level, relaxed. Easy the eye. That's what that means. I is self. Easy the eye. You could feel a better relaxation.
Major. Just
Major. Okay.
Everything. Little pain that I felt here, and just everything.
Major time. Yeah. 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 Okay. Somebody. What did your over self give to you, show to you?
Bob, a couple things. One, the overlay idea is very helpful because the smaller self will still have chatter about it, and it just, okay, that's just that. But what I was hearing was patience and trust.
Trust, yeah. Oh, that word trust. My God, that's a popular word. Trust, yeah. How do I know I'm hearing an overself? Maybe I'm making this up. Screw you, get out of here. We all have that problem. Work it out. Stop it. Come on. Come on. Come on. Play the game. Come on. And
Sensei, yeah. Sean has his hand up for the longest time.
Sean, jump in, Sean. And The over self said, whatever the right words are, gave what? We're waiting, Sean.
Can you speak, Sean?
We can't hear you, Sean. Still can't hear you. Cannot hear you.
Maybe he has the same problem I had where you have to restart it because it doesn't seem like his sound is working.
Yeah, Sean.
Sean, we'll come back. Somebody, while Sean sets his thing up.
Sensei.
Yo. Go.
The statement, you already have everything you need, just trust the process.
Yeah, remember, you're a worry ward. I know you. You're a worry ward. Jesus.
Yes.
You make a science out of worrying. If anyone wants to study worrying, you ought to be the leader of the class. So I think that was a perfect statement from what little I know about you. Sounds good to me, but it's your over self.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And we're just beginning, people. Not that you want to just continue this chatter. The importance is that you make those changes, because as, what should we call this? The first self, first level of self, as it dialogues, whatever the right word is with that, and it makes changes. Then next, someplace along the line, my question to over self is, I want to be your level me. I want to be my own over self. We're just transitioning from this lesser self to this over self, but you're going to eventually be it. And then I'll redo the game later. I'll figure that self has an over self, and I'll continue to game at a much finer level. Okay, so it's a great game if we do it right. It's great. Your self knows who you are. It's yourself. Okay, so in a certain way, you can't bullshit yourself. If basic honesty here, this is what I would like to hear. I don't know if I want to hear it because he may tell me how bad I am. In fact, it sounded like my father there for a moment. Screw this. I don't want to listen. You make up all kinds of stories. That's why we have to do that earlier settling, finer sense of things to get past the rejection brain, the worrying brain, I want this brain. That's why we have to do that earlier settling, deeper settling, and whatever to get out of those phases. Because if we're still there, we'll muck this up no end. Muck with an M. Works well with an F too. We'll screw it up no end. That's why we must settle for a while. Settle for a while. Try to get to a better level where more honesty and what's that key word, Steve? Belief. No. Trust. Or it gets a little easier to trust. But if I'm in my conscious mind, I don't trust shit, man. I'm very negative, careful. Remember, I would suffer from paranoia if I go into tight body. Okay. Yes. Thank you. Sounds good. We got a minute. Somebody. Come on, self. Your over self is there. It's trying to help you along.
So I heard, so this is Diana.
Go.
I heard, it was a while ago, wait a minute, stillness and carry on.
Be still. So far, so good. Takes the place of carry on. Okay, and remember, not just words, people. Remember the best as you can, the experience, the sensed experience of those words. Not just hearing the words. We're not setting up a dialogue and we're going to talk. Oh boy, I was a little bored, so I talked to my over self and we had a nice chat. And self being aided by itself to further its development of itself. See, this is gangbusters for self. Self wants to return back to itself. Got caught up here and we got all looped in and shit. But as we unwind and settle and square away and chant our way and gong the gongs and whatever, self. And as self gets more present, not the right word, but whatever, present, there is a pull, if you would, from more original self to self. OSensei was very big time on that. He called it magnetism. There's a magnetic pull at a certain level. Okay. I don't work the pull when I'm Bobby, knowing there's a self. I settle a bit, settle a bit, settle a bit. And then someplace you get a little more advanced here, a little more comfortable here. You could take advantage of having a sense that there's a natural pull. That in a certain way, the great overself will want to pull the lesser self to itself. So lesser realizes, oh my God, I always was. It's always been here. And eventually, okay, it never was not. So there is this draw that will begin to show as you play these games. Should facilitate. Somebody running out of time? Go.
Sensei, it's Tom. How are you? Hi, Sensei.
Tom.
Yes.
There you are.
Here I am.
Yes.
I spent the last 24 hours working with my anger and frustration about being deceived, this illusion that things aren't working out the way I expected them to, and people aren't being honest with me, and I'm trying to, pull out some truth here. And I felt this anger, frustration, emotion building up. But this larger self in the last 24 hours had resources for me. And I felt comforted that there were resources there. There was breathing, there was walking, there was being quiet, giving myself some space. So the larger self, became more like a resource to tools. And I was able to pull these tools together to become more in line with my harmony and get more grounded.
Let me jump in. See, Tom's, what's the word? A little more advanced here, developed. He's very interested in this. So even in the heavy world of his business and people cheating or whatever, he has enough, there's enough sense of self where when it said, Tom, come on, settle down a bit. You better go for a walk now. But no, Tom, come on. He was able to pick it up. Even though it wasn't a great self there, it was enough. And he's tuned into it enough, could we say, where, oh yeah, I better settle down here. I better go for a walk. I better gong the gong or chant the chant or something.
Breathe, all that, yeah. So it's nice to have that relationship today, last 24 hours,
self is here even in the heavier, but the heavier people are going to be hard pressed at first. That's why we got to settle them down, square them away, and do all that stuff before it can even begin to faintly show it's there because they're so heavy and thick. But Tom's had some interest in this, so he doesn't have to suffer the thick person sense. It bing a little faster, to him clear, and led him along the right path. As he gets to a better level self, then again, they're in relationship. Forget the word I used the other day. As the self gets better, the energies of the centered person and the energies of the situation they're in show a finer dimension. And Tom, Super Tom, will be there. So they're all reciprocity help? Reciprocal.
Reciprocal.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm going to learn this language. I speak good universal, though. I do. In the universe, they like my voice. Anyway, where the hell are we? Thank you, Tom.
Sensei.
Great.
Thank you.
Great. Anybody finishing up time?
Hello, so this is Eugene. Sorry, I don't have a camera. So I spent an hour and a half today in a dental chair, and this is an awesome place to disconnect a little bit and observe what was going on. So I noticed that my body was tensing frequently, and then I understood that I am there. People who are working on me know what they are doing, and I don't have to be involved in the whole process of reacting to what's going on. So I didn't want to escape completely. I was still present and was observing what was going on. But at the same time, I let myself kind of open, relax in a way, and let some energies come. I knew that I was next to the window and there are trees outside the window, so I kind of made a connection to outside. And the body started relaxing and I was free. That was a feeling of a good freedom, and at the same time a connection with what was going on. So I was able to communicate to the doctors and say, like, when there was some pain or whatever, but it was a good presence without being reactive to what was going on. It was a very good feeling of that.
Good. Easy the eye, and it sounded like he let the energies do whatever they do, because they're going to respond. That was a dentist, right? You pull on my tooth, and there's going to be reactive energies. But easy the eye, you have the ability of letting them do what they would normally do in that case. You don't have to be in there. The second part that's interesting, important, is in being that easy the eye guy was playing with the outside. The little more advanced of that is where you actually realize, oh my God, I'm not the body. I remember mine still. I'm suddenly hovering up here, see my body clearly, but I wasn't in my body. I wasn't my body. I still existed, but I wasn't the body. I thought, whoa, that's pretty cool. Okay. So he's heading in that direction, maybe so. And then if you want to continue with that, the next level of that would be, I'm going astral traveling. And you purposely sit and bing, you leave the body and you travel around a bit. And you come back to the body. So you're seeing a stage there heading towards possible stages. Whew. Anyway, I think we've eaten up our time, huh?
Well, thank you so much, Sensei. Thank you so much. And I just want to say that on the chats, while you were talking and discussing with people, some people said that what they heard was actually they felt silence. Somebody else heard their overself say, "You're ready, you've got this." Somebody else heard, offer yourself.
Yeah, give of yourself. Yeah, that's been said through the centuries.
And so these are, I just wanted to make sure that everybody heard those and was aware that even though not everybody spoke up, a lot of people shared their thoughts. And
this practice, by the way, I would love it if you have a mind to, of course. I would love it if you would play with this. I mean, take more than 2 minutes to settle, but play that game and play with the deeper experience of whatever, for lack of words, it said. Okay. Because what you first sort of hear, and it's deeper meaning of what it's saying. Okay. Sense feeling finer and finer. That. That's great. That's great. That's great.
So with your permission, Sensei, I'm going to close the class by ringing the bell once more.
Wait, a hand.
No,
she's adoring the ceiling. Okay, never mind.
And so thank you, everyone. And thank you, Sensei. And we'll close with one more strike of the bell.
Thank you, Sensei.